No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Unity Renaissance. You all would join me on your feet, joining with us singing this opening song today. This is who we are, and we feel the love whenever we're together. This is why we're here, to serve the world and one another. We're being called to find a higher way, and to remember why we're here today, to love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember who we are. This is where we grow and find the truth that always sets us free. And this is where we play and enjoy like-minded company. A place where we can share our joy and pain. A place where everybody knows your name. As we love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember who we are. And in remembering to love and serve, we're transforming lives that transform the world. As we love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember who we are. Love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember who we are. And remember who we are. And remember who we are. Great job.
I just want to say, it doesn't matter if you have 5 or 50 up here. We have a deep bench when it comes to this music team, don't we? Good morning, Unity Renaissance. Good morning to those watching online. For all of you sitting here in the sanctuary today, I'm Christopher Naughton. I'm the president of your board of trustees. I'm honored to be here, honored to be sharing the dais with the lovely Laurel Brooks, who always brings it. And in a little later, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker today, Gail Boynton, one of our very own, who will be up here to inspire us all. We come here every Sunday to be together, to bring our presence here, to feel our love, to know that we are one with each other. And unity comes from that great New Thought tradition, that deep spiritual well in the American soul that knows that we are on the same path as Jesus the Christ. Because unity is positive, practical, and progressive Christianity and spirituality. And we learn from, and we live by, the teachings of the man we call Jesus and all great masters. That's why I'm honored to be here with you today. Honored to be serving on the board. Honored to be here with your presence. Thank you so much for being here. So let's do this. Let's share our wonderful vision and mission, which we've carried for years here, and which we continue to carry here in this room, in this church, and out into the world. So join me together with our vision statement, and that is a spiritually awakened world living in peace, love, and joy. And our mission, we transform lives that transform the world. And let's just take a moment in silence, just for a moment, close our eyes. Take that deep breath that connects us with the divine within ourselves. And let's leave behind the entire week. Let's leave behind the entire morning to this point in time. And let us feel that presence of divinity within each of us. That divinity that connects us. That divinity of love and of caring and sharing that we have with everyone here today in the sanctuary, all of our kids who are now being taught in our classrooms, everyone watching online, everyone in this beautiful, wonderful Unity Renaissance and Unity movement. Let us feel that right in our heart center, right in our heart chakra. The divinity of knowing who we are, why we are here, and what we are here to do. And so it is. Turn it back over to the music team.
All right, everyone, we're going to stand up. We're going to join us for our second song. 1, 2, ready, and...
Pretty simple tune. You'll catch it about the second time. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. That's the whole song. Sing it with me. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Sound great. I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my heart, and it won't let go. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I can feel it in my body.
Where else?
I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my heart, and it won't let go.
Oh,
Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. All right, this is the time in our service where we greet each other with a bow, a handshake, or a hug. So if you would join me in saying the divinity salute together. The divine in me greets the divine in you, and we serve and celebrate together for the glory of God.
one more. All this love inside, we can let it shine.
You got the song, something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful, sing it to a neighbor. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful. Great job.
Wow, that song is going to be going through my head all day. Not a bad affirmation, though, right? You guys rock. So, happy October. Here we are already, October 1st. My name is Laurel Brooks. I'm your platform host for today. And you know, as I stand up here and look upon you all, I'm reminded of something Paula said when she was first here, I think, and it went something like this. She said, you know, in ministerial school, they prepared us for a lot of things, but they never prepared us for what it would feel like to stand in front of all of you beautiful people, see your radiant faces, and feel your love. And thank you, Paula. That will be with me forever. Okay, today's word is prosperity. Please join me in our affirmation together. Practicing gratitude deepens my experience of prosperity. Okay, together. Practice, yes. Deepens my experience of prosperity. I knew we could do it. My life may be full of blessings, my family, my friends, my home, my memories and experiences, but it can be easy to take it for granted if I focus more on what I don't have rather than what I do have. Being thankful and expressing my gratitude for my good opens my heart, and it also opens my eyes to the many ways that I am prosperous in life. I count my blessings, pausing to give thanks for each and every one. The more often I do this, the more gratitude fills my heart, transmuting feelings of scarcity, fear, and not enough. From the serenity I feel in my heart to the peace that calms my mind, I am prosperous. As I greet each day with a prayer of thanks, my blessings abound. Isn't that nice? Our scripture verse is from Psalm 36. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. If you would like prayer support today, we have several options, you know that. You may fill out a prayer request form on the prayer request table right outside the chapel, or submit a prayer request on our website, unityrenaissance.org, or you may also call Prayer Ministry, Silent Unity, anytime, 24/7 at 816-969-2000. And for those of you who are here, we have prayer chaplains available to pray with you after the service. Would our prayer chaplains please stand? Thank you. After the service, they will be located in the chapel right beyond the bookstore. And now, please rise and join us in the Lord's Psalm.
Holy Creator, we praise your name. Your will in heaven and earth the same. Supply our needs, Lord, from day to day. Let your forgiveness light our way.
into your fold. For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you begin and with you stays. Holy Creator, we praise your name. Your will in heaven and earth the same. Supply our needs, Lord, from day to day. Let your forgiveness light our way. Lead us away from temptation's hold. Deliver us, Lord, into your fold. For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you begin and with you stays. Amen. 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 Please be seated.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I am love when I can't feel a thing. And you say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when you don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, oh, you say I am love when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, oh, you say I am love when I can't feel a thing.
Nick, Lily, your talents transform us. Thank you so much. And speaking of talent, our guest speaker today has been with us for 5 years. I've served with her on the board for 2 years. She is a mighty dynamo of power and also a sweet, loving soul, all at once. She's been studying metaphysics now for over 40 years. New thought is part of her soul. She actually attended Jack Boland's Unity Church in Chicago for a number of years, in Detroit. Sorry, one of those Midwestern towns. And you were married there as well, correct? Yeah. Gail Boynton, of course, is the person I'm alluding to. She's also very well known in heart math circles. She's part of the heart math corporate structure here in the country, but right here in our own church, she has helped coach and train folks, again, here and beyond. 3 certifications. She serves as co-leader of the heart math community of practice for certified professionals. And Gail loves to write as well. And if you take a look at Unity, I think is it in the magazine itself or just online, right? Okay, it's going to be on unity.org. It should be in the magazine as well. Gail has just written on the 12 powers and the connection to the heart. And it will be published next week, the second week of October. And again, just go to unity.org. You will find it there. She also writes inspirational poetry related to her spirit and her spiritual journey. Today, she speaks about the creative power of words. Let's give a warm welcome to Gail Boynton.
Thank you. In the beginning was the Word. Okay, you don't need me. Yes, exactly, the Word. And John 1 continues, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You hear that? The Word was God. You can't tell me that our words don't matter. There is incredible power involved. I mean, this is what's at our fingertips. When you think about it, it's kind of like electricity. If you know what you're doing and you have an understanding of electricity, you're going to light up a city, power computers and air conditioners and all the things that we need. And if you misuse it, it could be damaging and disastrous. The same goes for your word. If you don't use your word with that understanding and care, it's damaging. And when you use it well, it has the potential for creating a fantastic life. Now, wouldn't you say it might be wise to learn about how to use your word? Thought so. In the beginning of any creative process is the word, and every word, silent, spoken, and written, is a creative process if it's uttered even with the tiniest grain of belief behind it. When you hold your word in mind, declare it, and believe it, it is done. Spirit has no choice but to organize that thought into form. Jesus said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." He's already given us that formula. So when I was 16 years old, living in Waco, Texas, back in the 60s, I called a radio station and talked with the disc jockey and flirted with the disc jockey. And I was just making a request, but the conversation went on for like an hour and a half. Eventually we met and dated. And sometimes on Saturday night, he had to work. So I sat in the studio with him, and I watched him queuing up records. For those of you who aren't familiar, there were actually these turntables that spun around. He put a record down on it, and a needle would go on it. And as soon as he would hear the song start in cue, it wasn't on the air, he would back it up a quarter of a turn so that when he hit the button, it would be up to speed and start immediately. And then he would talk over the intro right up to the vocal, just nail it. I know a lot of you people hated that, but it's an art to finish your sentence at just that moment. And I watched him doing that, and all I could think is, dang. Well, imagine my Texas accent then. Dang, I really want to do that. I want to do that. There were no women in radio back then. Well, there might have been a few. They would have been in major markets, and they were buried in the overnight shift. The thinking was, what woman during the day, while mopping her floor, in a dress and high heels, would want to hear another woman talking to her on her radio? I know, right? Okay, so my mom, in great overcare and love, tried to discourage me. She said, it's very competitive. It's a man's world. You really need to have something to fall back on. So we talked about different things and sort of landed on secretarial skills. That would be my fallback. But I had a dream. And this was very important to me. It made me feel amazing just to think about it. Now, this wasn't in a gotta have it or die kind of desperation way. It was more like a yummy, delightful, thrilling way. So many nights, as I would drift off to sleep, I was sitting in that seat. I had confidence. I queued up records. I talked on the radio right up to that vocal and nailed it. It felt so good that I returned to this juicy imagined state pretty much every night for a very long time. A year later, we moved to Detroit from Waco. That was a culture shock. So I did what was familiar to me. I reached out to the disc jockeys there. Okay, so I was kind of a groupie. Don't judge me. Eventually, one of them taught me some of the basics. He showed me about writing news. So we'd rip off the copy from the AP or the UPI newswire and show me how to edit that down for broadcast. Then I would go into a studio and record it, and he would critique my work, which was pretty awful, but hey, I was young. And it was fun. A couple years after that, I got a job at a radio station. Hold your applause. As a secretary. Okay, so Mom was kind of right. But I used the production studio after hours and recorded and practiced and talked to my friends and anybody I knew in radio. It was just that ongoing thing. Then my day came in 1975. I was hired at a Detroit automated oldies station doing the news overnight, thanks to affirmative action. And it was fun. I wasn't that good, but I was overnights. The planting to harvest for my imagined state grew from seed to seedling to plants, and then it bore fruit in a total period of time about 7 years. But there was always forward movement as people and opportunities presented themselves along the way. So it always felt like it, and there I was, drifting off to sleep, imagining having my radio career. Now, what I did not know at that time is I was actually correctly using my thoughts, my words, my imagination in harmony with the law of thought. The definition of the word law in Charles Fillmore's Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, which is my Bible, so to speak, is the orderly working out of the principle of being. Law is the orderly working out of the principle of being. Man, by keeping the law of right thought, works in perfect harmony with divine laws and thus paves his way to spiritual consciousness. Don't you want some of that? When you're in harmony with divine laws, it's like being in harmony with, say, gravity. A pilot understands that gravity doesn't discriminate. If you don't understand lift, thrust, and drag, gravity pulls you down. But if you do understand, and with the training that you need, you fly and you land safely. And landing is pretty much a controlled crash when you think about it, working with gravity. Understanding divine laws and practicing right thought through imagination, words, and beliefs is the orderly working out of the principle of being, of your very existence. So if you go back to page 1 of the Bible, read the story of the creation of Genesis, story of creation in Genesis, you'll recall the words, "And then God said, let there be," fill in the blank. To me, this story isn't about 7 days that God, an invisible man with a long gray beard and a scorecard, created the universe. To me, if you read between the lines metaphysically, the story of creation is our instructions. The story tells us how the creative process of the universe works, which includes God, and it includes us, how we make things happen in our own lives. And then God, in me, said, let there be a radio career. And behold, it was good for 23 years. As both a news journalist, a disc jockey, and a radio morning show personality in a major market. My awareness of being a disc jockey in my imagined state helped me give life to my conception. Just as in gardening, I didn't plant the seeds and then 3 months later come back and have this lovely garden. There was tending to be done. I gave my conception water, sun, and fertilizer in the form of love, attention, and my imagination, along with my belief for a few minutes per night as I fell asleep when I was behind the microphone. I even took requests. I also pulled weeds. Any doubts planted by others was eliminated. I was not interested in hearing about all of the obstacles I might face. If I didn't hear, "You'd be great at that," I kind of kept it to myself. And that's spiritual secrecy. And that is the closet that's mentioned in the scriptures. When you pray, go into your closet, and when you have shut the door, pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. I was privately and secretly knowing I was going to be on the radio someday. How it happened was really none of my concern. So that's how it works. Whenever you're imagining the worst or the best, If you're feeling the emotion of it, which is effectively believing it, you are praying to your Father who is seeing in secret. And don't be surprised if someday, when you see the evidence of your belief, whether you're tending that garden. Incidentally, after 23 years in radio, I actually became an administrative assistant and then an executive assistant, basically a secretary. I didn't fall back on it. I chose it. And for 21 years, that career served me well. Thanks, Mom. So, you may be wondering how to operationalize this in your own life. I don't know. I can't tell you what's going to work for you, but I can share with you what worked for me, what I believe, and what I've attested and applied in my own life. So I invite you to go to the bookstore, cruise the shelves, read the covers, table of contents, and buy what speaks to your heart from the consciousness of where you are right now in your process. You'll know, you'll be drawn to it. If you don't see something there, which would surprise me, go online and find out, do like a search for New Thought authors. I can tell you that Charles Fillmore, Neville Goddard, U.S. Anderson, did I say Christian Larson? Ernest Holmes, they made a huge impact in my life. Big changes came. I also read a lot of New Age books, which is different than New Thought. These were books on things like crystals and oracles and numerology, and I found them incredibly fascinating and great add-on, but I kept coming back to the power of God within me instead of the magical things outside of me. And your mileage may vary. It's up to you. Go with your heart. So I started my reading in the early 80s, and I found my first Unity Church in Metro Detroit in 1985. And that was the legendary Reverend Jack Boland. He opened a whole new world to me. I didn't even know that there were churches like Unity. I went to classes. There was one every single Wednesday night. Sometimes I also did a daytime version. I read. I used Reverend Jack's 5-step system for transformation. Formed a mastermind group. That's where we support one another because it's easier sometimes to believe it for another person than for ourselves. Designing an image book. It's like an image board, only each page is dedicated to something like prosperity, travel, love, whatever you're working on, and you could put it on your coffee table in like a photo book. Journaling, goal setting, and powerful affirmations. And I also listened to tons of Jack's cassette tapes. I don't even know if I could play them, but I have digitized them. There was a lot of knowledge that I gathered during that time, but I still hadn't cracked the code for really applying it to my life. So I was believing things and had a mindset, but I was still living my life pretty much the same way. There were some changes and a lot of good things. I met my husband and didn't sabotage that relationship, so that was a good step in the right direction. And you may know him. He's the one that's on the radio on NPR. There was also, I wanted to tell you another story. Remember when we had those wristbands that was stop complaining? Right. And if you complained, you had to flip it over to the other wrist and start over at day 1 for 21 days. How many people were successful at that? Never complained for 21 days. Any hands? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, well, in 2012, I was going to a church that did this. And I couldn't get through 21 days. I couldn't even get through 1 day. After 4, I gave up. I just said, to heck with this. And it either went into the trash or a drawer somewhere. I'm not sure what happened to it. Fast forward 5 years to 2017, and I started to have this feeling of complacency, like, there's got to be more to life than this. And it made no sense. I was in the DC area, had a great job, had a wonderful husband, wonderful son, nice townhouse in the DC area, income, no problems with finances. I mean, I had nothing to complain about. But it still felt like something was missing for me. So I was on track to retire in about a year, a little bit more than a year, and I felt like I got to have a plan. I want to serve something bigger than myself and have a fulfilling and meaningful retirement. So I started participating in this Facebook page that I happened across that's hosted by a guy named David Allen. Not that one, not the Getting Things Done guy, somebody else. And he helped me learn more about how the mind works, the subconscious, the nature of God, my place in the universe. Talked a lot about Neville Goddard. That's where I found out about him. But this refreshed my learning from the 80s, but this time I looked at it differently. One recommendation was a book by New Thought author Neville Goddard, who was born about 50 years after Charles Fillmore. Their lives overlapped a little bit, so they were almost contemporaries. And while I was reading his first book out of 10, and I read them in the order that he wrote them so that I kind of progressed with them, it's called At Your Command, it hit me. This was like the ton of bricks that I'd been waiting for. The secret was not to eliminate my complaining or my negative thinking, because nothing lives in a vacuum. It was to replace it with something. Duh. So I replaced it with better words. Everything in the beginning is your word. So that launched me into a rocket ship of awareness and enlightenment. And I decided to start meditating, even though I could not quiet my mind. Somebody said, Gail, just do it every day. It's a practice. Don't worry about it if you can't quiet your mind. Just do it every day. So I started doing it every day. After a couple of weeks, I started to do that head nodding, falling asleep part. So I went from one extreme to the other. And that took a couple weeks. And then I hit the zone, the floating, the insights, the beauty of the silence. I selected a series of affirmations that felt good. I definitely improved my words. Not just when I had 5 minutes to say a few affirmations, not just when I was meditating. Every time I opened my mouth. Every time I caught myself going down the rabbit hole in my thoughts. When somebody started, I was an admin at a big company sitting out in the middle of the room. Anytime somebody walked by and said, "Good morning, Gail, how are you doing?" instead of telling them about how tired I was, which I was always tired. Instead of telling them what my boss was doing and complaining about him, I said, "I feel fabulous." I said, "It's a great day. Life is good." And I didn't focus on affirmations that dealt with specific things like prosperity and health and all of that. I kind of went with the big blanket statements. Some of you who might be Abraham Hicks fans would be familiar with this one. Everything is always working out for me. Oh, I latched onto that puppy. I used that one all the time. And then David Allen, on his page, added, "in magical ways." So the expectation was that everything's always going to work out, but how? Oh, can't wait to see that. So that's still one of my favorite things to tell myself because it's easy for me to believe that. After a couple months of practicing that, catching myself in complaints, replacing it with one of those, I started to feel better and things started to look up for me. The grumpy gossipers stopped coming to my desk. The fun people showed up. I got lunch invitations where there was laughter and fun and excitement for living. And after 20 plus years on antidepressants, my psychiatrist said, in great excitement over my progress, you absolutely can go off antidepressants. And I've been off of them for 5 years. I also decided to have some fun with some of these ideas. I did these little experiences, little experiments. Moving has always been really stressful for me. Packing is like the worst. And we were about to leave a house we'd been in for 16 years of collecting junk, and we're going to pack it all up and move to Virginia Beach. And I thought, okay, my new world, my new mind, my new attitude, this is going to be the easiest move we've ever had. An adventure, fun. I can't wait. And once I made this decision, it wasn't 1 or 2 days later that my husband pokes his head into my little home office and said, I've made an executive decision. Let's have the movers pack up the house. I went, I think that's a fine idea. And he left, and I went, yes! And one of my other little experiments was, while I was in meditation, I was thinking about the 5 guys the executives that I supported at Deloitte. And I thought, one of them, just imagined somebody telling me how appreciated I was and that I was their favorite admin of all time. I thought, what the heck, I have nothing to lose. This is just an experiment. So the day before my last day, I get a phone call from one of the guys I supported who had been fondly named by the other admins Squeaks because I referred to him as my squeaky wheel. And we set up his travel for the next day because he had to be somewhere. And then he said, I'm really sorry I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I wanted to take you to lunch on your last day. I was like, aw, that is so sweet, thank you. But that's all right, I understand, you gotta be somewhere. And he said, well, I gotta tell you, you are probably one of the best, correction, you are the best admin I've ever had. And I'm going, it was Squeaks? Seriously? And I didn't laugh, but I wanted to. And I thanked him heartily and then went, holy Toledo, this stuff really works. It was amazing. So I want to invite you to test this stuff for yourself. First of all, I got 4 ideas for you. Read, read, read. If this is important to you to change your life, read. Practice constructive thinking. Become aware of what's coming into your mind. Become aware of the words coming out of your mouth or the things you're posting. Pay attention to your words, silent, spoken, and written. And when I talk about the posting, I know that sarcastic humor is funny, but it can backfire because there is an anger in sarcasm. Be careful what you post. Ask yourself, does this feel good? And in the words of Christian Larson, in the title of one of his books, just be glad. Just be glad. Now, I'm not saying stuff your feelings, ever. I'm saying choose your feelings. Create them with your words, that orderly working out of the principle of being. This awareness, this capacity, this ability to create your reality is built into your being. You inherently know how to feel good, how to make your life fulfilling, and none of it comes from outside of you. Start practicing now from where you are, no matter how old you are. And live the rest of your life being the you that you wish to be. You've got this. And the creative principle, the Heavenly Father, has got your back. In the words of Reverend Jack Boland, and that's the way it really is. Namaste. And now let's turn to our meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and begin breathing through your heart. Just imagine that your breath is expanding and contracting your heart as you're filling your lungs. And breathe slower and deeper than you usually do, comfortably. And imagine something really pleasing that just feels really good to you. Someone special to you, a pet, walking on the beach, something comforting as you continue to breathe through your heart. And realize Spirit speaks to you through your intuitive heart. Listen to your heart. Ask your heart now to prompt you to change the way you think every time that you say something or think something that you really don't want. Invite your heart to be louder, that intuition to speak to you, and activate that awareness in the silence. Now allow those beautiful prompts to be part of who you are now. Let them flow through you.
Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
So what do we say? Gail, you want to come back next week? And you've set the bar very high for your very first talk here at Unity Renaissance, so thank you. Bless you. Your talent is immense, almost as big as your heart. Well, folks, this is the time in our service where we get to jump back into the flow. And last week, the board shared with you a couple of things, where we are. And I just want to remind everybody, we're very, very, very much in the black. We are. But we have a budgetary shortfall. So what does that mean? We can go to a place of fear and tighten up. Oh my goodness. I'm going to invite everyone just to close their eyes just for a moment, something a little different we do during our offertory. Feel the gift, feel the joy, feel the ease of expansion here. See all things working out here for Unity Renaissance as they have time and time again through the long history of this center. Now we go through dips and cycles from time to time, but we are present. And now as we feel the sense of our giving, it's with ease, it's with grace, it's with love, it's with connection. It's with the inspiration that Gail Boynton shared with us this morning. All of these things, so Unity Renaissance. That's the flow we're jumping into. That's the joy, that's the expectation of great and grand things. And so it is. So I ask you now to take the gift in your hand, and of course, there's so many ways of jumping in the flow here. You can write a check out and put it in the basket in the back. You can put cash in the basket in the back. You can also do a bank draft off of your bank statement. But come on, we know the funnest way to give, right? You can go to using the Tidely app, and you can text this number.
540-418-1228. Text now.
Yeah, text now, okay. So at this time, again, keep your gift in your hands. And let's say this affirmation one to another. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Back in good measure, it's given back to you. Take out all your wasted honor, every little past frustration. Take all of your so-called problems, better put them in quotations. Say what you need to say. 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 Walking like a one-man army, fighting those shadows in your head, living out the same old moment, knowing you'd be better off instead. If you could only say what you need to say. 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 Have no fear for giving in. Have no fear for giving over. You better know that in the end it's better to say too much than never say what you need to say again. Even if your hands are shaking and your faith is broken, even as the eyes are closing, do it with a heart wide open. Say what you need to say. 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 Say what you need to say.
Put your hands together for Mr. Nick Hill.
Test, test. Give that one because it doesn't work yet. Hello?
Oh, okay.
It does work.
Yeah.
All right. This is the time in our service. Can you hear me okay?
No, we used to turn it on or hold your mouth right.
It's green. Test. All right, now here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
We're here.
So we would like to welcome all of you, any of you who are here for the very first time. We'd like to welcome those who have walked in our doors for the first time. Is there anyone here today walking through our doors for the very first time? All right, thank you. We have a gift for you, and if you'll get a gift right now, but if you would like to, in that basket or in that group of the folder that you'll be getting here in just a moment, if you take it to the bookstore, we'll also give you a free gift as well. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Sunday morning. We hope you'll come back again and again.
Okay, so the 5 Principles is a new class at Unity Renaissance that's being offered starting this week for the whole month of October with our own licensed Unity teacher, Cindy Mills, in person every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And the book, 5 Principles, is available in the bookstore or online at unityrenaissance.org. This class is especially good for new people, but it's also very informative for well-seasoned Unity folks. So all are welcome. Thank you.
There's also another great workshop coming up, Forgive for Good with Lorena Griffin. That will take place Sunday, October 8th, so 1 week from today, right after service at 1 p.m. It's based on the book of the same title. You can learn to learn startling, am I missing that? Or is my eyesight just terrible? Learn startling new insights. There it is, okay. Learn startling new insights into the power of forgiveness. This class is offered for a love offering. 100% of the proceeds will go to Unity Renaissance.
Okay, well, you stole my announcement, so you want to give that one? That's okay.
I stepped on your toes. All right.
I
also,
don't mind. I'll share.
You want to do that? Go ahead. You want to do Donna's?
Oh, no, I meant I'll share this with you.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. This is, we're going to go back a half step because it's on the sheet, but it wasn't up there. So
Okay.
that's why I stepped on your line. Sorry.
Okay,
Also, another class we can bring to your attention. Join Donna Shannon. That's this Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, October 5th, for her sound bath and guided meditation, in person or via Zoom. The details, of course, can be found on our website, unityrenaissance.org. Back to you, Laura.
Okay, now I'm out of order, so I need to use my cheat sheet. So, October is Pet Blessing Month, and this is one of our top.
Well, I think we've got, why don't we go by whatever they're giving us?
Okay, I was just going by this. Yeah, that's what's up.
Oh, it is. Now it
Yeah,
is.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, we can share this too.
We're a very bad comedy team, sorry. Bad comedy,
See, we got some
101.
laughter. So, Pet Blessing Saturday is coming up next Saturday with our own Reverend Richard. Bring your pets, cows, horses, cats, dogs, goldfish, whatever, or bring a photograph of them. And they can be either embodied or they can be in pet heaven. So it's an opportunity to just give thanks for these loving creatures that are so faithful and unconditional with us. 10 o'clock next Saturday, outside at Unity, Reverend Richard.
Very good. Now we can go to our sock drive. This is the Christmas sock drive. So bring your socks, gloves, blankets, throws, pajamas, what have you, for residents of the Virginia Home for Adults, and place unwrapped items in collection boxes in the narthex throughout this month of October.
Okay, next.
Says here. Okay.
Oh, that's you.
Okay, I'll back to back. So, as you know, we've got the ongoing ministerial search that we're conducting, and our selection committee is working hard. We just got another application last week. Yeah, there you go.
Yay.
And we're going to keep you up to date on all of this, of course, but just as a reminder, there is a Board of Trustees member here each and every Sunday. We've been doing this ever since Reverend Paula retired last year. Every Sunday before the service, usually they're greeting you as you're coming in, and after the service, there's always a board member. Heck, there are usually several board members. So if you have any questions at all dealing about the ministerial search committee, about the budget, whatever it is, we're available to you. And today, the board member to chat about all of this is Hazel Gaines. Is Hazel, there she is, stand up. You want some wisdom, you talk to Hazel. So join her, and again, you'll find her in the narthex after the service.
And next week, we will have our Reverend Richard back to speak on the dynamic laws of prosperity. So please be here if you can to take part and enjoy his wisdom.
And now it's time to bring our kids in.
We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, we are walking, we are walking in the light of God.
Good morning. Do you all hear me? Thank you. Okay, first, for all these beautiful masks, and for our second Sensational Skills Sunday, we have Miss Peggy, who took part in our mass, and she would like to share our affirmation with you.
So we're working on the power of zeal, and our assignment was, zeal is that inner flame that burns brightly for all to see. So our affirmation for mass making this morning was, zeal, my inner light shows forth in all that I do.
And so the children were tasked with making a mask to show their true selves and to let their light shine through their mask. Can you guys hold yours up so everybody can see? They're so individual and creative. Aren't they amazing, everyone? So amazing. So amazing. Okay. And I would like to pray for our offertory with or without mask. Work for me, okay? Let's take a deep breath. Sweet Spirit, thank you so much for all that you provided for us, for Miss Peggy's wonderful task at helping us make mass this morning, for our adults who man the crew and we're all filled with glitter and paint, for our children who provided their creativity, their laughs, their smiles, and their monetary gifts. We give so much thanks, and so it is. Now, a very, very special treat that we would like to share with all of you that is so important is, such a big announcement, Ms. B, October 29th, write it down in the calendars right now, is our first Unity Renaissance Fall Festival. Our very first. And so we make sure that all of you are here for it. It goes from 12 to 3. It is all free. However, you may purchase from our food trucks if you would like some lunch that day for the family, and you may purchase from the vendors if you're interested in doing so. And of course, love offerings are always accepted. With that being said, would everyone please stand for our prayer, protection, and peace song?
Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.